Cognitive dietary restraint. What is it? So basically you would have either high or low, or I guess you could have medium cognitive dietary restraint, but most people would probably fall into high or low. Imagine yourself and your twin, okay? Your identical twin. You guys are going to a business meeting, you sit down at the table, and during the meeting they have freshly baked cookies on the table. Your twin, we'll call her Susie. Susie takes a cookie and she just eats it. She doesn't even think about it. She's just like, oh, there's a cookie, they smell good, they look good, it's 11 o'clock, I'll eat lunch here in a little while and I'm just gonna eat it, whatever. She doesn't even go through that thought process. That's just basically how it happens. She just reaches, eats it, and she's fully engaged in the meeting and in the conversation. Her cognitive dietary restraint would be considered low because she's cognitively not really restraining herself from food, okay? Now you, on the other hand, you come in and as soon as you walk in the door, you see the cookies and you're just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, there's cookies, I can't have a cookie, like I'm on a diet, it's not a part of my diet, it's not my cheat day yet, it's not ready, it's not like it's too early in the day for this, it's gonna make me feel bad, I'm gonna get sick, like does it have gluten in it, I wonder how much sugar's in it, I wonder how many calories in that, I wonder if it'll lead to a binge later, I wonder if it'll mess up my diet, I wonder if I'll gain weight, like I wonder, and you're literally like the whole meeting, you're just sitting there thinking about this cookie, and you can't even like engage in the topic of the meeting, like the discussion, like all you're focused on is this cookie. And maybe you'll come in and out, maybe you're just like, okay, and you're kind of participating in the discussion, and then you're like, but that cookie, like I want the cookie. And then, lo and behold, you end up just eating the freaking cookie. You would be considered as having high levels of cognitive dietary restraint. And so Susie, your twin, is like, whatever, let's just eat the cookie, it's not a big deal. But you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like you are freaking out, okay? So you would be considered high. Now, why is this even important? Like, who even cares, I mean, for a lot of people, this is a very, very, very common thing that you've just accepted as a part of your life. And you're just like constantly on a diet, constantly like trying to stay away from certain foods, constantly saying that you can't have this, you can't have that, like trying to just like get it all out of your mind. You don't want to even think about it, but then all you do is think about it, and you've kind of just accepted that. The health and fitness and diet industry is this whole idea of you can't have this food, and it's driving you crazy, right? Well, on the surface, it may not seem harmless. It may just seem like I'm just trying to be disciplined and there's just so much junk food around and it's not good for me, but there's actually been tons of studies done on this and the bad, awful effects that this can have for not only your stress levels, but also your bones and your menstruation, which is basically like a tornado just waiting to happen to your body. There's a ton of studies. I'm going to read from a few of these studies to just explain this a little bit further. But number one, there was a study that was done on postmenopausal women to see what the effects would be as far as this cognitive dietary restraint, because they wanted to see if it was true of postmenopausal women just like it's true of premenopausal women, because they had already proven that it was true for premenopausal women. So what it says cognitive dietary restraint is also known as the perceived ongoing effort to limit dietary intake to manage your body weight, okay? So cognitive dietary restraint is you're constantly thinking, I can't have that because I want to keep my body weight under control. It says it's common in women at all stages of life. In young women, high levels of dietary restraint has been associated with both increased excretion of cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and reduced bone mass. So again, the study is already showing, studies have been done on premenopausal women, higher increased levels of cortisol, and you have reduced bone mass. So it says whether this occurs in older women is unknown, and it's reported here for the first time. Then it says postmenopausal women with high levels of dietary restraint excrete more cortisol than do those with low restraint, suggesting that dietary restraint may be a source of stress. So I talk about stress a lot. Remember, stress is not just your job, your relationships, the road rage that you get on the way home from work. Stress can be anything that causes a threat to your body, that is not peaceful or harmonious for your body. So this could be exercise can be stressful, not getting enough sleep can be stressful, even thinking in your mind, I can't have that, I can't have that, I can't have that, is stressful on your body. and it causes the increase of cortisol, and they've found it through the excretion of cortisol in your urine. It's not just cutting out the stresses of, all this other stuff that's going on in your life. You have to seriously de-stress. Anything that causes any type of stress in any type of way, you got to decrease it. And this is one of those. And this is a mind thing. So I'll talk about your mind being so powerful all the time, and whatever you expose it to is what you're going to end up acting and thinking and becoming at the end of the day. So if you're constantly thinking of what you can't have, that's stressful on your body. And here it's shown that it causes reduced bone mass and increased cortisol excretion in both young and older women. There's another study that was done, and I'll read this too because this is very important. It says, the study characterized associations of restraint in selected physical, lifestyle, personality, and menstrual cycle characteristics in female university students, okay? This survey instrument, distributed to 1,350 women, included standardized questionnaires and assessed weight and dieting history, exercise, lifestyle characteristics, menstrual cycle characteristics, and whether participants were following vegetarian diets. Among the 596 respondents included in the analysis, women with high, medium, or low restraint all had similar ages, heights, and weights. Despite this, compared to women with low scores, those with high scores exercised more, they were more likely to be vegetarian, they had a history of eating disorders, and they were currently trying to lose weight, and they also reported irregular menstrual cycles. They also had scores reflecting lower self-esteem and higher perceived stress. So let me just stop right there. Number one, how many of you out there fall into this category? You exercise a lot, you're more likely to be vegetarian, and we'll just throw vegan in there as well. That's the next step. You have a history of an eating disorder, or we're not even going to say diagnosed eating disorder, we're just going to say you've had issues with food or exercise or whatever. You're currently trying to lose weight despite all of that stuff. You have irregular menstrual cycles, and you have scores reflecting low self-esteem and higher levels of stress. Is that you? Because that's what most of these girls dealt with. Also, it said menstrual irregularity was an independent predictor of restraint score, and restraint score was the only variable to differentiate women with regular and irregular menstrual cycles. So basically what it's saying is, depending on your restraint score, they could basically tell if you had a period or not. We conclude that women with high restraint may use a combination of behavioral strategies for weight control, and they differ from women with low restraint scores and personality characteristics and weight history. Some of these behaviors or characteristics may influence menstrual function. So, here's the thing I want to say about this is, if you are vegan or vegetarian or on some kind of diet or whatever you're on for weight loss or weight maintenance or whatever type of reasons, and that's the only reason you're doing this because you think that you're going to stay skinny and you can lose weight this way, that's an issue for you. You need to really reassess your values in doing that, your reasons for doing so. Being vegan or vegetarian is not just about weight loss. I work with a lot of girls that are just I'm just going to try it and see, and once they gain weight or they don't lose weight or whatever, they're forget this. It's not a diet, okay? It's as cliche as it sounds, it is a lifestyle. And now there's nothing wrong with going on a vegan diet to lose weight, but if you're in this mentality of this description I just said, this can be a big issue for you. So I really encourage you to kind of think through this, figure out what you're doing. It doesn't mean you can't be vegan ever, but if it's so controlling and you're using this for other things, for restrictive tendencies, you don't want to keep doing that, okay? You want to be as well off as you possibly can. So you have to work through that. Now, another study says women with high dietary restraint typically report restricting energy intake and using a reduced calorie foods in order to achieve or maintain a certain body weight. However, previous studies of food choices associated with dietary restraint have been limited by the self-report of participants' food selections. So, we provided all the foods that were consumed during a free-living 24-hour period to 62 normal weight women with high or low dietary restraint, and observed choices from among similar foods varying in fat, fiber, and energy content. Women with high dietary restraint consumed less energy and chose reduced calorie and reduced fat foods more frequently than unrestrained eaters. The group differences had choices of milk, cream cheese, mayonnaise, salad dressing, and soda were noted. Dietitians may consider frequent use of reduced calorie and reduced fat foods as potential indicator of high dietary restraint, which may have health consequences. Accordingly, further exploration of clients' tendency to restrict dietary intake may be warranted. So, I want to make a note on this too. Obviously, in the 80-10-10 world, or the vegan world, or the plant-based world, there's a big push for low fat, right? Which, from a health standpoint, obviously is healthy. But you can get so healthy that you are unhealthy. And a big part of this is your mind. It's all about your mind. I talk about this so much. You have to guard your mind. If you are to the point to where you are super obsessed and you're counting and you're just like, I can't have that, it's got too much fat, like, no, oil is bad and this is bad, and I just like, even though that might be true, if you are still stuck in that with your mind and it's like consuming you and it's stressing you out, you are not healthy, because it's increasing your cortisol level, it's lowering your bone density, and it's messing up your chances of having your period. Like, there you go, and just the thought of saying, I can't have that, can't have that, is messing you up. A big part of this is the fact that so many girls idolize these other type of women or other girls that do this and don't have any problems, okay? So for example, I know tons of people out there, tons of women out on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, that are perfectly healthy, they have their period, they feel great, they're on a vegan diet, they're 80-10-10, they're low fat, they eat plants, whatever, and everything's great for them, right? Why is it great for them? Is it just because of the diet? No, it is not just because of the diet. It is great for them because they are not mentally attached to it. They aren't obsessed with it. It's just how it is for them. They don't sit there and think and count and track and worry and look and, research and look at themselves all day long. Like, they just do it just to do it. It's second nature to them. But the people who are looking up to them get obsessed. And these type of people have OCD, perfectionistic type of personalities, and you bring that to this type of diet and it's like, it's a nightmare. And so it's hard to say that this diet is very, very healthy or that diet's very, very healthy, because when you put this type of person with that diet, it's not healthy for them. And it's not the diet that's unhealthy, it's you that are unhealthy. It's your mind. It's the way that you view this. It's the way that you are constantly avoiding or tracking or weighing or counting or whatever. It's your problem. It's not the diet's problem. So this other girl over here who looks like everything's going great for her, and it really is, doesn't mean that her whole lifestyle is this. And you're trying to make it fit and you're stressing yourself out over it, so you're getting yourself unhealthy in the process. So what do? You take a big step back and you say, I need to reevaluate this. I need to change some things. I need to allow some things in my life that I have not allowed for a long time, just to get the stress off, just to breathe a little bit, just to eat some freaking peanut butter. It's not going to kill you. Honestly, eating some peanut butter would be far, far better for you from a health standpoint than continuing to live like this and stressing yourself out all the time, continuing to lower your bone density, continuing not to have a period, and continue to increase your cortisol. A spoonful of peanut butter is not going to hurt you compared to all of those things. That's the reality. So that's what I really encourage you to do, is step out of your comfort zone a little bit, eat some food, move on with your life, and live a little bit, you have to take away the stress. So the last study that I'll read is, there was a huge study done on cognitive dietary restraint and bone mineral density and bone mineral content. And so basically they wanted to see the correlation between cognitive dietary restraint and bone loss. Basically what they found was that women with high levels of cognitive dietary restraint had high levels of bone loss, leading to increased risk of osteoporosis, just like I talk about in the video of female athlete triad. So go check that video out. But, again, there's also studies that have been done that show that high levels of cognitive dietary restraint lead to menstrual disruptions or amenorrhea. So this is huge. If you are dealing with this and you need help, you don't know what to do, number one, I think you need to go see a therapist or a counselor, someone local to you that can help you work through this stuff. Specifically, someone who really specializes in eating disorders and that type of thing. Don't go to like your general doctor or whatever. Go see a specialist in this type of thing. Also, if you need help, further help with this, you need help getting your period back, whatever, email me, thisgirlaudra@gmail.com. This is what I do. I've helped hundreds of girls get their periods back, get over their issues, move on with their life, and fix their mind and their thinking, and I would love to help you. At the end of the day, you have to stop stressing over food. You have to stop stressing over all this. You have to stop stressing over your weight. If I could tell you one thing to do, it would be delete everything that you're on and just go live your life. Like, stop tracking and counting and researching and all this stuff. Get it out of your head and move on with your life. That's my biggest tip for you.